Hey, what is up guys, Smash back for another Modern Cube video, and today, pack 1 pick 1, we've got Ugin, Rampaging Baloths, Arlencord, Oracle Mordai is pretty sweet, and Wildfire, and Hedron Archive. So the best card in the pack I think is Ugin. One of my favourite cards of all time in Cube is Wildfire. Any 6 mana or 7 mana spell that destroys 4 or makes each player sacrifice 4 lands and deals 4 damage to everything, they're basically like my favourite cards in Cube for lower power level cubes where you just play mana rocks in good cards, and not like the powered cubes you can't really play a Wildfire deck, unfortunately. But so we do have Ugin. I think Ugin is probably the best card in the pack, but we also have Wildfire. Hedron Archive goes with both of these cards, but Hedron Archive is not going to wheel. Ugin's not going to wheel either. Wildfire might. So I'm going to take Ugin here just because I think it's the best card in the pack, but Wildfire is one of my favourite cube cards, and I really hope it wheels so we can play an Ugin Wildfire deck. The whole point of Wildfire is you play it with a bunch of Planeswalkers, you play a Planeswalker, next turn you play Wildfire, and then you should just be able to win off of the Planeswalker because everyone's so far behind on land. In this pack we have Avacyn's Pilgrim is fine. Again, we have an 8-drop, so mana acceleration is good. Prophet of Kruphix. If you've seen my last cube video, you will have seen Prophet of Kruphix, and every time I cast that card, it felt ridiculously unfair. So I'm very tempted to take that card. Other good cards, Wrath of God is obviously fine. And I think that's about everything I'm drawn to. I think it's between the Prophet and Avacyn's Pilgrim and Wrath of God. If we do the Prophet of Kruphix, there's a lot of things we can do, but it is committing us to 2 colours, whereas the Avacyn's Pilgrim is just committing us to 1. Especially if we have a Wildfire deck, you can play Avacyn's Pilgrim, so we can play red-green. Whereas if we take Prophet, then we're 3 colours, and I don't really like the idea of doing that. I think Prophet is a stronger card, but also, you know what, we're just going to take Avacyn's Pilgrim here. I really do like the Prophet, but I think that we want to get the ramp as early as possible, so that's what we're going to do. So here we have Star Compass, which taps for mana that any of your lands could produce. Oh, it's only basic lands. I did not realize that. So that is something to bear in mind. We do want mana rocks, obviously. Utopia Sprawl is very good as well, and I really like Chandra and Tamiyo because obviously we want Planeswalkers. I'm not basing any picks off the expectation that Wildfire wheels, but I am taking a note of what we're passing so that we can at least figure out what is open. So I think we want to take the Star Compass or Utopia Sprawl. Star Compass will go in any deck, so if we end up not in green, then Star Compass is easier to play in other decks, whereas Utopia Sprawl is pretty much just going to be in green decks. It's also worth noting that it has to go on a forest, and because it has to go on a forest, it makes it much harder for it to be the splash. So if we're like mainly red splash like a couple of ramp spells, then it's easier to play Star Compass over Utopia Sprawl. So because of that, I'm actually going to go with the Star Compass. In this pack, there's nothing we're really interested in. It's a pretty weak pack for us. Primal Command is fine, so you can target a player against 7 life, put target non-creature non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library. Target player shuffles her graveyard into their library, or you search for a creature, reveal it, and put it into your hand. For 5 mana, you can do quite a lot with that. I like searching for a creature and putting a land on top of their deck normally, just because you slow them down and you've then got on a card you need. This pack has really just got nothing for us. Like, we could take Beast Within. Beast Within is good at just destroying Planeswalkers and things like that, especially if we have just bigger creatures than them. A 3/3 just isn't going to do much. So I don't mind taking either of these. I think we're going to take the Primal Command though. Yeah, we're going to take the Primal Command. It's also worth noting that you can Primal Command Planeswalkers. Alright, in this pack, again, there's nothing that really interests us. We could just take the Tarn if we want to try and get good fixing. Other than that, like Ronas or something, this pack is really weak for us. Maybe the green deck just isn't open because it's not looking like it is here. It could have just been a weak pack for green though. So if we take the Ronas, we're looking then to just go into some sort of beatdown deck, which isn't what we've got so far, so I don't think that's really what we want to be taking. Olivia Voldaren is just a really good card. Arc Trail's fine. I think because I'm not sure what colours we're going to go into, we're just going to take the Tarn. I really don't know what we're getting past, so I don't think that we should just aimlessly go into green and... Yeah. Okay, so Mind Control is a fantastic card. Just 5 mana, take your opponent's creature, which is really good. What else have we got? Whisperwood Elemental is fine. Well, it's very good, but... Yeah, maybe we do just take the Whisperwood Elemental here. The other thing to note is that we've been past the Hero, Shrine of Burning Rage, and Flame Slash, which are all 3 good red cards. So red might just be opened. Unfortunately, none of our picks currently go with red, other than the Tarn, I guess. Like, you're not going to play Star Compass in your red deck anyway, so... You know what, we're going to take the Shrine here, just in case red is open. It's just a very good card to go in the red decks. And again, we've not really been past anything for our green ramp deck, really. So I think we're actually just going to move it into red, because it just looks like it's going to be more open. The Dragon Lord is good, and the Ire Shaman is also good. I think I prefer the Dragon Lord here. Yep, we'll go with the Dragon Lord. In this pack, there's Clifftop Retreat if we want to splash white. Phyrexian Revoker is fine. It's just a 2 mana 2/1 that you sometimes get lucky against a Planeswalker or something like that. Or there's the Cold Night Castigator, which is very risky. So it's a 4 mana 4/9. Any damage that would be dealt to the creature or you, so the controller, takes double that damage. So I did play against a mono red deck yesterday where they played this, and then next turn I just played a creature with haste and killed them. And they were on like 18 life or something ridiculous. So this card kind of puts me off, so I'm just going to... we're just going to take the Phyrexian Revoker. And the Wildfire did wheel, but as I said, like the green mana rock deck is just not coming together. So we're just going to take Figure of Destiny here. And Grafted Wargear is good. Cone of Flame is fine, but that's more of a controlling card, so you can try and kill like 2 of your opponent's creatures and like maybe kill a Planeswalker. So we're just going to take the Wargear here. The Marauder is fine. Flinthoof Boar is pretty good, but we don't have any reason to be green-red yet, and generally with Figure of Destiny and the Dragon Lord, you don't want to be in a non-red, or you don't want any non-red producing mana or lands, because you just can't activate them, which just makes them significantly weaker. And we'll take the Hall of Triumph here. Here we can take any of these are fine. I think we want to take the Mirror Entity, just because if we are going to splash, then that is the best card to splash for. And we'll stick that on the sideboard. As I said, we don't really want to be splashing. However, this card is much better to splash for than Kythian. So Kythian you need to play on turn 1 realistically, or you want to. Whereas Mirror Entity you can draw on turn 5, turn 6, and you just play it, and then hopefully next turn you can kill your opponent with its activated ability. So it's much less reliant on being played on curve, which is why I was more drawn to that than the Kythian. And there's Destructive Force, which is basically the one bigger version of Wildfire and Burning of Zinye, which would have been sweet, but obviously we can't really take that. We can take Young Pyromancer, Rouse Eric, and that's pretty much it. We could take Battlefield Forge if we would like. I don't mind taking the Forge just because it helps us play the Mirror Entity, but then again Young Pyromancer works with the Entity as well. I don't know which one is less likely to wheel. I think the land is more likely to be taken than a Young Pyromancer. I think it's pretty close though. The biggest reasons to splash white typically are things like Stoneforge Mystic, which won't be in the cube because it's banned in Modern. At least I expect it won't be in the cube. Yeah, so I think we're just going to take the Young Pyromancer here because we know we're going to play it. Or at least it's very likely that we're going to play it. Challenger is great and the Berserker is fine, but the Berserker seriously relies on you having 1-drops in your deck because it's got Bloodthirst too. So if you play it without the Bloodthirst, it's just unplayable, whereas Chandra is just great. We'll definitely take Chandra here. So we've got quite a few options here. We have Kessig Wolfrun if we wanted to play that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with the Figure of Destiny and the Dragon Lord, as I have mentioned. So that puts me off that. We have Thundermaw Hellkite, which is just a fantastic 5-drop. It typically will always get in when you attack with it the turn you play it. Peering, Kiran Nalaar, which is just good for value. And we also actually have Porcelain Legionnaire. So Legionnaire is basically just a 2 mana 3/1 first strike. just because it has the white Phyrexian mana, you just pretend it's a 2 mana 3/1 basically. Cryptic Command as well is nice, but obviously we're not going to be playing that. Hero Blade Holder is just not worth considering when we've got all these easier cards to cast, which are also very powerful. I like the Legionnaire and I like the Hellkite. We already have 3 2-drop creatures, so I don't mind passing the Legionnaire and taking the Thundermaw Hellkite here. We could take Pia and Kira Nalaar, but Thundermaw just gets in for damage a lot quicker, whereas Pia and Kira Nalaar is more grindy, so I would rather take this. And now we get past another Mana Rock, which makes me really sad we're not in that other deck, but it just wasn't open, so that's fine. Here we have Brimstone Volley, Chandra, Stormkirk Noble, and Zealous Conscripts. We also could consider City of Brass, but that's not what we want to be playing. The only reason to take that is if we want to splash other colours. Like if we took the red-white Pain Land, then we could have taken this as well and make other colours easier to splash, but that's not something we're looking to do. And I've just realised we do have Hall of Triumph, so that does make Young Pyromancer significantly stronger if we do take that. I really like Brimstone Volley just because it deals 5 damage, that's 25% of your opponent's starting health, which is insane. Chandra is very good as well, and also Stormkirk Noble is fine, and Conscripts, but Brimstone Volley just deals so much damage to your opponent, I find it very hard not to take it. And there's Kiki-Jiki, so if we took the Zealous Conscripts, we would have had the combo, but we didn't. And we could take the Kiki-Jiki now and hope the Zealous Conscript wheels, but that's not only just very unlikely, but it's also just, even in the deck, the 2 cards together aren't even that good. Obviously the combo is amazing, but our entire deck is trying to kill our opponent as quickly as possible, and then we just have an OTK combo. It just doesn't really fit in with the deck, so we might just play Zealous Conscripts. And if it gets killed, then Kiki-Jiki just sucks in our deck. Maybe we can copy a Thundermaw Hellkite, but it's not going to get better than that. Again, we could take the Rugged Prairie, but I'm not really worried about splashing the Mirror Entity over taking a Stoke the Flame. Stoke the Flame is just a fantastic card. Flame Javelin is fine, and Boom Bust deals 2 damage to target creature, or return target creature you don't control to its owner's hand. So that's not Boom Bust, that's Dead Gone. Dead Be Gone? Dead and Gone? I don't know. I think we're going to take Flame Javelin here. This card is just not very good. Maybe if you're against a green deck you'd like it, but I think we'd rather take Flame Javelin. 3 mana, deal 4 damage to your opponent is pretty good. Lash Out. This is a card I'm not familiar with. So deals 3 damage to target creature, clash with an opponent. If you win, it deals 3 damage to its controller. Okay, so it's kind of like a really bad Searing Blood. We are not going to very often win clashes, so I don't really want to take that. So we can take Lightning Helix or Spellskite or Imposing Sovereign. Those are like the 3 options I'm really considering. I don't really want to be taking Spellskite. Maybe if we had the Kiki-Jiki and the Zealous Conscripts I'd be more likely to take that, but I think we're just going to take the Lightning Helix. We're not looking to play white, but if we do end up playing it, then we have that option available. So we have Abbot or Thunderbreak Regent. We also have the Glorious Anthem if we did go really deep with the Young Pyromancer tokens and things like that, with Hall of Triumph and that, but I don't think we want to be doing that. So it's between the Regent and Abbot. And I think we just want to take the Thunderbreak Regent here. Abbot is a fine card, but I've just found that Thunderbreak Regent has always been better. Obviously they go different on the curve, but it's not as different as you think, just because the Abbot you typically don't want to play on turn 2 because you want to get the trigger. So a lot of the time you'll find that you play on turn 4 or turn 5 or turn 3 or something, and if you just miss off it, then it just feels really bad. So it's just like a 2-drop that you don't really want to play on turn 2, but sometimes it doesn't even do anything when you play it on turn 5. So yeah, I think we're just going to take the Battlefield Forge here. There's nothing else really to consider. The Recruit, I guess, but yeah, we're just going to take the Forge here. And here we can just take Isamaru. Icy Manipulator is just not what we're going to be doing. We could take the Ranger, I guess, but I think we'd rather take Isamaru here. Yeah. And we'll take the Legionnaire here. We could take Valorous Lance or Hanoi Captain, but we don't really want to. And we're not going to be playing green, and we don't want to be playing Colourless Lance, so we're just going to take Porcelain Legionnaire. Absolutely great pickup there. City of Brass, Stormcloak Noble, or Spear of Heliod. Again, we could take Spear of Heliod and we could have taken the Glorious Anthem and tried to go in on the tokens, but that's just not something we want to be doing, especially with just one Young Pyromancer. So I think it's between the Noble and the City of Brass, and I think we want the City of Brass. And another fixing land. This is perfect. And neither of these matter. We'll take the Wandering Death, or Wanderer Death, and Flicker Wisp, sure. So we already have 17 playables that we're actually okay to play. And we already have 3 fixing lands for our White Splash. And if we pick up a Sacred Foundry, then we go up to, what, 5 lands that get us what we want. And it looks like this pack is a complete whiff for us. There's nothing here we want at all. We could take Nahiri, but Nahiri sucks in our deck. Could take Banefire, but it just takes so much mana, it's not even very good in our deck. Nothing here we take is actually going to be like something we want to play. So I think we just have to take the Banefire here and just, yeah. Like, we could take Angel Sanctions, but that's just not going to be very good in our deck. At least Banefire is fine late game. Angel Sanctions is too, but at least this just does what we want. It just shoots to the face. If we're against a control deck, we might want to bring that in if we don't main deck it. And another Mana Rock, which would have been sweet. So I think we're going to take the Firecraft here. We could take the Windswept Heath again, hoping that we get the Sacred Foundry. But we're just going to take Exquisite Firecraft. It's just like one of the best burn spells that we could play in our deck. 3 mana, 4 damage, and it can't be countered a lot of the time, which is just really powerful. And also you can sometimes just kill like a creature with it. Like a Courser Crucifix that's just getting in the way and stopping a lot of damage, you can sometimes just kill. And here we have quite a few good options. So we have Karizev, obviously fine card. If you've played Standard recently, then you'll know that Karizev does get played in that. Another Anthem effect in Dictate of Heliod, Chandra's Phoenix, and Heart of Kiran. So all of these are fine. Heart of Kiran is just absurd. 2 mana 4/4. Obviously you need 3 power to crew it, but it's just so powerful. I think we're going to take it. We do only have 9 creatures, and not a lot of them crew it yet, but we can pick accordingly. And if we take Heart of Kiran, Chandra's Phoenix, and Karizev, we will. At least one of them will. So yeah, we're going to take the Heart of Kiran here. And Courthouse Chainwalker is perfect. The other card I would consider, or the other cards I would consider are Honor of the Pure, Mutavault, and Sheltered Thicket. Sheltered Thicket would just be a red land that comes in tap that you can cycle. We don't care about the green side. And Mutavault is great as well as a land that's just hard to interact with. But the Courthouse Chainwalker, it's a 2-drop creature. It crews Heart of Kiran, and it just does what we want. So we're going to be taking that. In this pack, it's basically Bedlam Reveler or Banisher Priest. I guess we could consider Avacyn, but it's not what we're looking to do. Bedlam Reveler is very good if we have a bunch of Planeswalkers. Yes, I think it's between those. We'll just take the Bedlam Reveler here, and we'll stick it with the Banefire because it's kind of like an X spell. So I guess we take a Braid here. Destroying artifacts is not a novelty in Cube. Like Soldier of the Pantheon, Spirit of the Labyrinth, and Condemn are all not great. Maybe Spirit of the Labyrinth would be the best pick here. But I don't want to be having 1 and 2 drops in our hand that we can't cast on curve, so we're just going to take a Braid here. And I've just remembered a Braid cannot go face, which makes that significantly worse than what I thought it was. Grimlarv Mancer is fine. Thalia is actually okay. Yeah, Braid might not have been the pick there. We'll stick it on the sideboard. Both of these are fine, but because we're playing so many burn spells, I think Grimlarv Mancer is better than Thalia. Not only because the burn spells fuel Grimlarv Mancer, but because Thalia makes our burn spells weaker. And here we just take the Ancient Grudge. And this is our original pack. I guess we could take the Saram's Expertise here if we want to. That into like a Hall of Triumph would be sweet. I actually want to try the red-white tokens deck where we take like all the anthems. That would be sweet. It's not going to be today, but with 6 Ram's expertise in the sideboard. If we play against like a heavy 1-for-1 removal deck, then maybe that's something we brought in. And Spectral Procession. Alright, we're just going to start taking them all and see if we can end up with them. Okay, well I would take the Dictate of Helio, just try and if we can get some token synergies going along, but Chandler's Phoenix is very, very good. The second you play, or the turn you play it, it gets in damage pretty much every time, and then even if they remove it, it just keeps coming back. It's absolutely fantastic in this deck. This one's only white creatures, which makes it really weak. Spirits are white. These are colourless, so that does nothing in our deck really. And we took that, which doesn't really make a difference. What we got, I guess we'll take the Mere Battle Sphere there, and Spirit is probably better for us. Stick that on the sideboard. And Thalia Wield as well, okay. So white was definitely open. Cards in our deck that we're looking to cut are Hall of Triumph, and that's about it. Then we can play a Braid over that. Let's go sort by converted mana cost. Group them separately. We don't really want to be playing Banefire either, but it looks like we don't have too many other options. I think we're just going to end up playing the Abrade. 1, 2... We only have 3 white sources, so I'm not overly excited by playing the white, but it doesn't look like we get a choice. And we also could just play this. So, Jinxed Choker is a 3-mana artifact. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent gains control of it. So, every end step, you give it to your opponent, they give it back to you. And at the beginning of your upkeep, it deals damage to you equal to the number of counters on it. And you can pay 3 to remove a counter. So, early game, it can get in quite a lot of damage, but if you top deck it, it does absolutely nothing. I've never actually played with this card, so I'm just going to stick it in and see how it goes. And we'll cut the Lightning Helix again, because we only have 3 sources. And I want to see how well this card performs. So if we do this, we can play 15 land, which is probably one too few. So if we cut one more card, which will be Hall of Triumph, and we'll stick all of these in. We're going to play the Scalding Tarn just because it helps with Grimlaugh Mancer. Add some basics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't really want to be playing too many white sources. 4, so that's 1 every 10 cards, or 5, and then it's 1 every 8 cards. We want as many red sources as possible for Figure of Destiny and the Dragon Lord. So, alright, we'll play 2 white. Oh, sorry, 2 plains, and that will be the deck. So I'll see you guys in round 1. Round 1, and we are on the play, which is sweet. And this hand is great. We'll keep this. We can go like Figure of Destiny into Borderland Marauder. Figure of Destiny. And we'll pass the turn. We also could have played the Grimlaugh Mancer, but Grimlaugh Mancer is better later when we have spells in our graveyard, so there's no reason to play that out now. Alright, so we have the option to play the Borderland Marauder or the Shrine of Burning Rage. Shrine of Burning Rage is very good once it resolves against a blue deck because they just find it difficult to remove it, so it gives us that almost inevitability. They do have a couple of bounce spells and things like Cryptic Command, which bounces it, which is really good against us. So it's between that and the Borderland Marauder, I think. The other option is to play Grimlaugh Mancer and level this up, which I think is pretty weak. So I think it's between these two. I kind of want to just get the Shrine of Burning Rage down, just so, because it's very unlikely that our opponent can counter it this turn. They could have Spell Pierce, I think that's about it. Whereas if we play the Marauder now and we play the Shrine of Burning Rage later, it might just not resolve. But I'm actually going to choose to play the Marauder here, just because it offers the potential to do so much damage early game. I think it's worth it. And then we're just going to pass the turn back. Alright, so our opponent's on some sort of blue-red shenanigans deck. Drew a 3rd land, which is really handy. So our options here are to level this up once and play Shrine of Burning Rage, or we can play a burn spell, or we can play both of these. I think we want to just attack first and see what happens. So Borderland Marauder's gonna trigger to get 3 more attack. And now we're just gonna go... Whoa, that was close. Play Shrine of Burning Rage first, and then we'll play the Grim Lavamancer. The reason I've done this first is because then it'll get a counter from the Grim Lavamancer. And also the reason I chose to play the Grim Lavamancer over leveling this up is because theoretically it would make no difference. Like, this would get 1 extra power, this adds 1 power to the board, so it shouldn't have made a difference, but unfortunately it got countered by Sensor, so it did make a difference. But again, I'm not going to play on the off chance they have like a Sensor, so... So Shrine of Burning Rage gets a counter every upkeep, and it costs 3 to throw at our opponent. Okay, so Mirror Entity's a good draw. I think what we want to do is just attack and see what happens first. Oh. So begin combat and attackable creatures. Hopefully our opponent's just going to take 4 here. Yes. And I think we're just going to turn up with a Mirror Entity. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately this won't pump up the Shrine of Burning Rage, but that's fine. So next time we're actually offering the chance to deal 3, 6, it doesn't matter anyway. I find it interesting that they chose to take the damage from these and then kill this post damage, because normally what you want to do is leave it until as late as possible so they can kill, but because we're an aggressive deck I find that strange that they took the extra damage. So we drew Plains, which doesn't do too much. It does mean that we can now evolve this and level these up at the same time. It also means that we can level this up twice. I guess this isn't actually technically leveling up, I guess, but it's the same thing. So we're gonna pump this up to a 2/2. And because we have so much damage in hand and on the Shrine of Burning Rage, I'm actually gonna choose not to pump this up again, and I'm just gonna start trying to kill our opponent with these. So we're going to choose to Cyclonic Rift the Shrine. So we're just going to throw our opponent then. This Inexquisite Firecraft should just be lethal. And they're going to Pyroclasm. Sweet. We have... how many instants and sorceries? None. We currently have no instants and sorceries in the graveyard. So I'm going to choose to Flame Javelin here instead. We didn't have to take the damage from there if I tapped the Plains, but it's not going to make too much of a difference. And they just didn't have anything. Cool. On to sideboarding. We're against blue-red, so I don't think that changes too much. Tokens are actually pretty good against blue-red because they have a lot of single target removal. We did see that they had Pyroclasm, which is good against tokens though, so there is that to consider. I don't think there's any changes we want to make. Maybe we want to bring in Thalia, just because Thalia tends to be pretty good against red-white. Sorry, red-blue. And take out something like a Braid. We'll try that. I am wary of boarding in white cards because we only have like 5 or 6 sources, but we should be fine. And this hand is great, we'll keep this. We have Figure of Destiny into Courthouse Chainwalker, which is really powerful, and we also have the option to play Shrine of Burning Rage if we so choose. And we just drew Even Better for turn 3. I really like the Figure of Destiny just because of how efficient it is. Oh, okay, they're going to lash out. And somehow we won that. Do we want to draw the Dragon Lord? Next turn we're going to play the Gorehouse Chainwalker. It's a really good late game sink for mana, so I kind of want to take it, but we also have the Bedlam Reveler for that. So I think we're actually going to put that to the bottom and hope to look for burn spells to help make this Bedlam Reveler easier to cast. Drew Thalia, which is quite nice. We're actually going to play Thalia over the Gorehouse here, just because it's harder for our opponent to do things like Serum Visions and things like that. Opponent's going to flame slash it, and now we have the option of Chandра's Phoenix or playing one of our 2-drops. We might as well just play the Phoenix here. I guess if we want to resolve the Rage, it's probably best to do it now. But next turn we do get the option of playing both of our 2-drops because we have the extra land. So that kind of makes me want to play the Phoenix here. So we're just going to get in for 2. This game is looking really good for our opponent just because they've had answers so quickly to everything we've done. And we drew Phyrexian Revoker. Oh, we're going to attack first. See what our opponent's got. And so they can't have Cryptic Command, they could have Mana Leak. Don't know what other counter spells are in the cube. I think Negate is. And there's Rune Snag as well. So if there's Rune Snag, then we want to play the Shrine first. Okay, so that's down, which is most important. And then we'll lead that into... We're going to always yield to that. Into Gorehouse Chainwalker, and we're going to unleash it. The fact that our opponent had nothing kind of suggests that they have a board wipe, something like Pyroclasm again, because they just did nothing that turn. Threads of Disloyalty, sure. I don't know why they've chosen to take the Gorehouse, because the Gorehouse is unleashed, so it can't even attack. Sorry, it can't even block. And again, Shrine is going to tick up. Drew a land. Drawing a land isn't too bad because that means we can play the Revoker and constantly keep up the Shrine in case they do have a bounce spell or a removal spell for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have 5 out of 8 so far for the Bedlam Reveler, but that should be fine if we draw something later anyway. Chandra's Phoenix is flying as well, so there's just like so many reasons this can't block. So we're just going to play the Phyrexian Revoker, and I think we want to name this Ralzeric, any of the Chandras, maybe a Jace. We're going to name Jace Architect of Thought, because I think that's the worst thing that could happen, because it would just make both our creatures 1 power. Like if they played Ralzeric, at least then it minuses to kill something. And we're just going to pass the turn. We could have kept the Phyrexian Revoker in our hand until they played something which we could name, but that just feels really bad because we need to be attacking our opponent. Bloodwater Entity. This is a new card, so it's a 3 mana flying prowess 2/2. And when it's battlefield, you may choose to target instant or sorcery from your graveyard and put it on top of your library. So they're going to put probably Flame Slash? I'm going to put Lash Out, okay. Obviously we're not going to block. upkeep, Shrine will trigger, and Chandra, which is a very good draw. Lash Out can only go to creatures, so they can't redirect to Chandra, which is good. I think we just want to attack with both first and see what happens. If they block the Phoenix, then we can plus Chandra ping them and get the Phoenix back. The other option was to play Chandra first and then ping this. But this looks much better for us. If it doesn't resolve, then that sucks. So Chandra's Phoenix says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that deals damage to an opponent, Phoenix comes back to your hand. And because of that, we get another trigger on our Shrine of Burning Range as well. So they're probably going to attack Chandra here for 3, putting her down to 2. And we know they have Lash Out, which is instant speed. So the Shrine's going to trigger, and Flame Javelin. Trying to work out what we want to do this turn. I think we want to play the Chandra's Phoenix first before we do anything with Chandra, just in case they kill it, then we can just get it back. We can also get it back from the Flame Javelin, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. Even if we cast the Flame Javelin, we're still 2 off Bedlam Reveler next turn. If we zero Chandra and hit a land, or an instant or sorcery, and then we drew a land next turn, we could Bedlam Reveler still. And the synergy with Chandra's Phoenix is quite nice because we discard it and we can just keep getting it back. Alright, let's just attack first and see what happens. So I want to keep up enough mana to activate the Shrine, because it's just got so much damage on it at the minute. It getting bounced is like pretty detrimental. Alright, so we're going to Lash Out. Wargear, we probably want to keep Wargear on top actually. That with Chandra's Phoenix just means that every time we get Phoenix back, it's just going to be very difficult for them to deal with. Costs 3 mana, I think. Yeah. I don't know what to do this time. I kind of want to keep the Shrine up for as long as possible. I kind of regret putting the Wargear on top now, because I'd rather zero Chandra and try and hit a land or something. They also could have Disallow, that's worth noting. Disallow is in the cube, and Disallow is counter target spell or activated ability. Shrine is an activated ability, so if they have Disallow on the Shrine, that's going to be really bad for us. We're just going to pass with the Shrine up. So going to kill Chandra here. We could Flame Javelin, but I don't think Chandra's going to deal more than 4 damage. And I can play Tamiyo. So they can use Tamiyo to lock down the Shrine, so when they target it, we're just going to throw the Shrine at our opponent. We definitely do not want to redirect. So we deal 5 damage to our opponent, and if we draw a land... Oh no, we know what we're going to draw, so that doesn't matter. We'll just play the Phoenix and get in for 2, and then next turn the Javelin is lethal. And we'll just pass the turn. Yeah, we should have put this to the bottom, unfortunately. That was an error on my part. They're going to play Jace, which does nothing, so that should just be game. The only thing they could have now is like Pact of Negation to win. Can't see, yeah. Obviously we do not want to redirect. Sweet. Alright. On to the next round. Round 2, and our opponent is going to be on the play. When they choose. There we go. Alright, so this hand is pretty good. We'll keep this. The Bedlam Reveler is a bit of a dead card in our hand for now. I don't actually think it's very good in the deck, but because we don't have a high enough instant and sorcery count, but it's we don't really have any other better choices, so we're going to live with that. And it looks like we might be in the mirror match. But they don't have a 1-drop. Alright, let's lead off with the Grim Lavamancer. We could hold this in our hand just to wait until we have instants and sorceries, or just anything in our graveyard. But I think it's better to just play it out now. We can sometimes get some damage in with it, and yeah, it should be fine to play it out now. Right, another mountain, which does lead me to believe that they are going to be playing a red, just like a mono red deck or something, or like an aggressive red deck. But they didn't have a 1-drop, which is not good for them. But they'll probably have a 2-drop. Alternatively, they could just be like a blue-red deck and they'll just play both mountains first. Gorehouse Chainwalker. So if they unleash it, then are they going to unleash it? If they don't, then it just trades with the Grim Lavamancer. They are thinking about it. Can't, yep, so they've unleashed it. Alright, so we can play the Young Pyromancer here. And what that'll mean is that when we play the Grafted War Gear, we can start putting it on the tokens, which is quite nice. But I think we just want to play the Chain House. So the Gorehouse Chainwalker. Well, we're going to get in for 1 first. And play the Gorehouse. And we are also going to unleash. We could have chose to just play the Young Pyromancer, and then next time we could go Mountain and then Convoke to kill this, or whatever they play, and get the token and things like that. But I think we'd rather keep the Stoke the Flames for trying to go face, because it's just so easy to get a lot of damage out of nowhere with it. And they're going to play Boggart Ram Gang. So it's a 3-mana, 3/3 with haste and wither. So wither means when it dies, it's like it comes back with a -1/-1 counter. No, that's persist. Huh. I can't remember exactly what wither does. I'm pretty sure it just comes back with a -1/-1 counter or something. But that is literally what persist does, so I don't know what the difference is. They're going to attack with both. Play a mountain. We could play the War Gear here. Playing the War Gear and then attacking means that we've just added the same amount of power to the board as they have, but they are still a turn ahead. Which is my problem with that. So if we tap 2 to play the Young Pyromancer, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana left, so we can Stoke the Flames as well. I think what we want to do is play the War Gear here, attack with the Gorehouse, and then keep the Grim Lavamancer back as a blocker, and then we can or later we can just chump block it, something with it. The reason I want to use the War Gear here this turn is because if they have removal, then the War Gear gets equipped something and they kill it in response or something like that, and it's a little bit annoying. It does cost 0 to equip, which means it's not as bad, but we can just move over again. But generally we want to use this and get the damage in when we can. So down to 12, and then next turn we can attack and put them to 1. We stoke the flames. See what our opponent does though. We also might just stoke the flames and then use this to ping the other creature. We're gonna flame slash the Grim Lava Monster. They must have removal for the Gorehouse then. Oh. Interesting. We're going to take 6 down to 8. It's going to be pretty hard to come back from that. So we've got 4 mana to play with. We can play Young Pyromancer. Then keep up Stoke the Flames. We're also going to play Porcelain Legionnaire and kept up Stoke the Flames, or we can just play both 2-drops. The problem is playing both 2-drops is that we lose 2 from the Porcelain Legionnaire and then we just die to the Thopter, right? Oh, it's 2 to pump, so we go down to 6 and then we take 1, 2, 3. I think we want to keep Stoke the Flames up. We have to attack with this realistically, I think. Oh shit, now we can't keep up Stoke the Flames. So that will just be game if our opponent doesn't mess up. Because apparently I'm stupid. So your opponent does, they might just take the 6, yeah. Alright, so now I think we have to play the Legionnaire because we can block here, take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Play the Legionnaire. Yeah, we have to play the Legionnaire unfortunately because I messed up. And we just pass the turn back. So if we go block here, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously if they have like a lightning bolt or something, we are just dead. So that goes there. That goes there, and yep, just hope for the best. Okay, so the Wither did nothing. I really don't know what Wither does apparently. I thought it was like persist, but I guess not. Zero opponent follows that with Stoke the Flames, sure. Unfortunately that was more of a case of whoever went first won, but that does happen in the mirror sometimes. Lightning Helix is going to be very good in this matchup, and Jinxed Choker is going to be absolutely awful. think that's the only change we want to make. City of Brass and Battlefield Forge are not very good in this matchup, but again, to play the white spells, I think we need to keep them in. If we had enough red that we could cut the white, then that would be good in this matchup. Just because it makes our mana base less painful. But unfortunately we don't have that. And we still could take out the Scalding Tarn as well, but I think we'd rather have that than a mountain just for the Grim Lavamancer. Maybe not. It's pretty close. And eventually our opponent will lock in as well. I'm annoyed that we didn't get to play the sweet Wildfire deck with Ugin and all the mana rocks, but it wasn't open, so I think it was right to switch into a different deck, and the red deck seems pretty open, so... And we definitely want to play first. And we will keep this. So we've got Figure of Destiny into Grim Lavamancer and level up the Figure of Destiny, and hopefully we draw a land for this Mirror Entity and we can get a lot of damage in really early. Opponent's down to 6. Hopefully they don't go down. There we go, yeah. Alright, Mountain, Figure of Destiny. It's a bit annoying that when you play Figure of Destiny on turn 1 you have to choose what mana to pay, just a little bit annoying, but I get why it has to do that. Hopefully our opponent doesn't lead off a Goblin Guide, that's like the best thing they could do. No, they didn't, sweet. And we're just going to get him for 2. Should have played the Grim Lavamancer main phase 2 actually, but... Alright, sweet. If our opponent plays something that we might want to Phyrexian Revoker, that's fine, but really we want to draw our third land for Mirror Entity. It also means that we can start getting the Kifkin a little bit bigger. Gorehouse Chainwalker is fine. They are going to unleash it? Sure. Flame Javelin doesn't do too much. Will Revoker. So, the best cards in the mono red deck are, or the ones to name Revoker, are Figure of Destiny, but we have Figure of Destiny. Grim Lavamancer, we have Grim Lavamancer. Koth and Chandra. So those are the best 4, in my opinion at least. Oh, and the Dragon Lord. But Koth doesn't do as much as Chandra, I don't think, because I don't know, it's pretty tough between the two, but if they... I think we have to name Chandra, basically, because Chandra can tick up and kill the Revoker. Oh, I just hit enter by accident, and chosen chance. Brilliant. No, I wasn't even sorry, that was a misclick, but I don't even know what chance does, to be honest. But whatever, let's get in for 3. And pass turn back. Didn't even know there was a card called Chance. But I have a feeling it's not what we wanted to choose. So, we definitely want to offer this trade, I think. Because ours is just a 2-mana 2-1 and theirs is a 2-mana 3-2. This also fuels our Grim Lavamancer. So I think this is what we want to be doing. And also we're not hitting our third land drop, so slowing the game down isn't a bad thing for us. And we drew the worst card we could have drawn, which is Bedlam Reveler. See what our opponent is up to. And we'll just attack. And we have nothing else to do, so we're just going to pass the turn. Also, drawing the planes means that Flame Javelin is 1, 2, 3, 4 mana instead of 3. and our opponent is up to 4 mana, so they could play Koth, Chandra, Thunderbreak Regent. Those are like the 3 big 4-drops, I think. Can't think of anything else. Murderous Redcat. So when it's battlefield, deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player with persist. So they're going to kill the Finger of Destiny here, I expect. And then when it comes back, they can kill the Grimloft Monster. Yep. Please hit a mountain here. Seer of Brass. Well, it's better than nothing. So I think what we're going to just do is Exquisite Firecraft our opponent. So then Flame Javelin and Stoke the Flames is all just lethal together. Or we could Stoke the Flames this turn, just whilst we have the Grim Lava Monster. That probably makes more sense. Yeah, we're just going to pass the turn. The other option is to use Grim Lava Monster, but that just because that uses a mana, we can't do anything else that turn. So I don't think we can afford to spend an entire turn just to deal 2 damage when we have a City of Brass and we're against a red deck. Our opponent has obviously slowed down a lot because they haven't really done too much. But because we're stuck on mana, I just want to try and kill our opponent as quickly as possible at this point, instead of trying to grind out little bits of damage. Like, we have enough damage in our hand to kill our opponent. Let's just try and get out as quickly as possible. And they are mono red, so we shouldn't have to worry about Lightning Helix. Or maybe War Leader's Helix if that's even in the queue. Let's go red, red. Oh, that does 1 damage to us. Forget that they have a time or a chance to respond. So that puts them down to 8, and then we can just hopefully kill them with these 2. And Grim Lava Monster is dead. If we do win this game, we still have to somehow win the 3rd one, with our opponent being on the play. So we're going to take 2, bringing us down to 17. Untap, Exquisite Firecraft or something, and then extend Flame Javelin, hopefully. If not, we will just have to play the Mirror Entity out as like a jump blocker or something. I guess we could start making it into a 3-3, but it was pretty bad. Stormblood Berserker, so we're now taking 5 a turn. Young Pyromancer is not what we were looking for. I really like City of Brass by how it's worded, so if you Rashad import a City of Brass, it actually deals damage to your opponent, because it says whenever it comes tapped, it deals 1 damage to you, whereas Mana Confluence is whenever you tap it for mana. So I do like the fact that it does kill you. I think that's cool. Also, this is a triggered ability, which means that it's not part of the cost. So you can actually use City of Brass when you're on 1 life and hold priority. So before this trigger resolves the dealing 1 damage, you can Lightning Bolt your opponent to win the game, which is pretty cool as well. So we're going to take 5 here down to 11, and fingers crossed we draw a land. And we do not. Our opponent's got 6 mana untapped. So if we take 5, we go down to 6, and then Fiery Confluence. No, that's not more than legal. There's so many ways we can different ways we could die. We're only actually at 10 because we have the Flame Javelin. So we can play the Heart of Kirin, and then if we draw a creature with 3 power, or we draw a 1-drop. I think we've drawn all our 1-drops though, then we could crew Heart of Kirin and kill them that way. Or we can use Young Pyromancer as a chump blocker. So the difference is, if we play Young Pyromancer, we can chump this, take 1, 2, effectively 3 down to 8, and then next turn we are still not dead. Whereas if we play the Heart of Kirin, we just take 5, and then the turn after that we do die. And this is all just assuming they don't have bad spells. If they have bad spells, I'm pretty sure we are just dead. I think we have to play the Heart of Kirin though. It just gives us more outs to win the actual, to be able to win the game. So now if we draw a land, next time we should win the game. And for people that aren't understanding why I'm not casting this, it's 2 or a red, 2 or a red, 2 or a red. So we have 2 red sources, but not the third. So it actually costs red, red, and then 2 colorless. If that was a mountain, we would have won. Our opponents hit their 7th land drop, which to me suggests that they've just flooded out, and the cards in their hand are nothing because they haven't done anything with their mana. They had 6 mana last time, they didn't do anything. So they either have creature removal spells or more land. See what our opponent has drawn for turn. I expect they're going to play it soon. Okay, sweet. That should just be game. Going down to 5 shouldn't make too much of a difference. I guess we can keep up 1 colorless this way. And we're going to do this in response to this. So at least we're down to 6 instead of going down to 5. As I mentioned earlier, you can do it with Lightning Bolt. If we run 1, we still could have done this and held priority in response. Doubtful. Sweet, so we did win. On to the next. We pretty much just won because they flooded out, which is unfortunate for them. But we did get stuck on land, so it kind of evens out. Not really, but we could just bring in Isamaru and Thalia. I wish we could just bring in the spirits, but I don't think we want to be doing that. We could bring these in just as more early game threats that they have to answer, and then take out like Bedlam Reveler and Banefire. I think that's probably better because we're on the draw. We have to be like quick early game, otherwise we're just not going to stand a chance. This hand is awful, so we will mulligan and we'll keep this. I don't think the Revoker's going to be good, so we're going to put it on the bottom. Heart of Kirin hopefully will help us win the race. And that was a really good draw, because between that and Thalia we can actually create the Heart of Kirin. And also Heart of Kirin is going to be very difficult for them to kill with Flame Slash, because we're just not going to crew it during their turn. They're going to play Karizev, sure. So this time we're going to play Heart of Kirin, and we're going to pass the turn. And then next turn we can start getting in for 4. Either of the creatures we play, unless they kill Grim Lava Monster, we should be fine. We will probably play Thalia just to slow our opponent down. Actually no, because if we play Dragonlord we can level it up once as well with the leftover mana. Karizev does represent 3 damage every time it attacks. They're definitely going to attack here. Yep. I see no reason why they wouldn't. We don't always yield to that. And we can block the monkey, but it goes at the end of turn anyway, so there's no point. So our opponent follows up with. They haven't seemed to be curving out very much, whereas we have. I don't know if their deck is just a little bit clunkier than ours. And they got a Forked Bolt. It's really good for them. Hopefully, okay, they're going to play on the creature. That's pretty bad for us. If we could draw a 3-power creature, that would be nice. Young Pyromancer. So we can Brimstone Volley this, or we can Brimstone Volley either. If we play Thalia, Thalia can block quite a few different. Yeah. The reason we're going to play Thalia is because she just blocks better. It also shuts them off of playing a turn 4 Planeswalker. Or a 4-mana Planeswalker at least. There isn't any less than 3 that are very good. If we can draw another land next turn, we can play both of our 2-drops, Crew the Heart of Kiran and start getting in for some damage, because we are quite far behind. If our opponent doesn't hit their land drops though, we could catch up. Alright, they're going to Flame Lash that, or Flame Slash, sorry. And now they're going to get in for 3/6. Because they're going to let... They might as well use the energy on here. There's not very many energy synergies. Especially in mono red, there's Voltaic Brawler is the other one in the cube that I've seen. I think those are the only 2. I'm surprised Thriving Grubs is even in the cube, to be honest. We have seen them use their Flame Slash, so I'm not too worried about, or I'm not too scared about Heart of Kiran dying if we use it to block. And we do draw our land, which is nice. And we'll play the Young Pyromancer as well. So the option here is we can attack for 4, or we can keep it back on defense. The problem with keeping it back on defense is they can attack with the Kari Zev, and because it has Menace, we can't double block. Or we can, but the first strike will kill the Young Pyromancer, and then the dragon will just bounce. And if we crew the Heart of Kiran, we can block the monkey, but we still get for 1. But taking 1 isn't going to be too much of a problem, so I think that's the best option. Hopefully we can use the Brimstone Volley to get in for 5 damage, and that should help us catch up, because 5 damage is obviously a lot to get from 1 spell. Alright, they've hit their 4th land. We can also use the Dragon Lord to try and keep up as well. It's a very good sync for mana. So whatever they target, we're going to create the Heart of Kiran in response. So now they'll just get for 1 with the Kari Zev and we'll block the monkey. Yeah, this has Menace, so that's why we're not blocking the Carry Reserve. And we drew Chandra's Phoenix. We could just Brimstone Volley here. I will make a token as well. And then we can crew the Heart of Kiran. Yeah, I quite like that. Actually, I think we want to do it now, because what that will do is mean that we have the token during their upkeep without them having any priority to untap. And the reason we want that is because then they can't respond to the Young Pyromancer token trigger and kill the Pyromancer, so we can't create the Heart of Kiran. So we have to do this during our turn, I think, because now we get the token. And we just pass the turn back. Obviously we are very, very far behind, but we might still be able to pull this back. Don't expect to, but we'll play to our outs. Up to 5 mana now, so Thunderbreak Region is like the worst thing that could happen. Chandra Nala. So +1 deals 1 damage to target creature or player, -X deals X damage to target creature, and then -8 is deal 10 damage to target player and each creature he or she controls. So we can do 1 damage to there. So we will crew in response. And now they can't attack us. And we draw a mountain, which doesn't help. I think we just lose because we can play Chandra's Phoenix, crew the Heart of Kiran, attack for 4, put Chandra down to 1. We can just tick it up, deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're just down to 3. And there's no way we're pulling back from 3. And if we just play the Chandra's Phoenix and pass, they just tick up, minus, kill something, and we're just going to lose a creature every turn, and we can't answer the Chandra. We'll play it out, but I'm pretty sure this game is over at this point. We've had to spend too much time defending that they're still on 20, and then we just can't kill them quick enough. So attack Chandra down to 1. They'll just tick her up next turn, but we should be able to kill it with Chandra's Phoenix, but again, we're just going to struggle to kill our opponent quick enough. They're just going to like draw burn and things. We're only at 7 because of the Modus Red Caps trigger anyway. Drew Hazoret, sure, yep. That is game. Very, very clearly. Anyway, on to round 3. Round 3 on the draw, and this hand is just going to be a mulligan. Just going to see if our opponent mulligans first. They do. Right, so we're going to mulligan, hopefully get something a little bit better. This is not a little bit better, so we're going to go down to 5, and we will keep this. Hopefully the... Yeah, we're going to stick down the bottom and try and hit our land drops. Hopefully the choker will get in a lot of damage this game. Unfortunately, we're not even going to be able to play the Dragon Lord here, because we need a second red source, which we don't have yet. Opponent's going to lead off with a lifelink creature. Of course they are. And we drew a mountain, which is very fortunate. If our opponent is playing like a white weenie deck, then I'm pretty sure this game is over. This creature is going to be very difficult. I think we just have to Banefire it next turn. The combination of First Strike and Lifelink against a mono red deck is just incredible. Especially on a 2-drop. Obviously we can't block it because of First Strike. Okay, so X equals 2, when it enters the battlefield, put X1/1 counters on it, and then you can tap it to put 1/1 counter on it and remove it, or you can tap it to remove a counter from it and put 1/1 on each creature you control. I don't know which one we need to deal with more. Probably the Lifelinker. Also want to get this choker on board as quickly as possible. But the problem is if we do, then next turn they can untap with this, and then we have to hit another land drop to be able to do a 3 to this with the Banefire, so... Should not have always yielded there, in case we do end up being on 1 life and we need to use the mana, but it's too late now. I don't think they're going to block here, just because they can make it a 3/3 next turn. Should have attacked first, really. I always find it hard to play 100% like optimally when I'm, well, at least the best that I can do, just because when it's cube, I don't know, it just feels much less competitive. Obviously it is because it's just cube, but it shouldn't be a reason to play poorly. Alright, so we can attack in for 2, they'll block, and then we can Brimstone Volley Gideon. Which feels really bad just because if we're sacrificing our creature because they're just going to tap this. So what they'll do is they'll block here, or no, sorry, they'll block here, tap it, put a counter on it, this will die, then we kill this and they still have 5 power on board. The other option is to play Shadow's Phoenix, get in for 2, then next turn War Gear it and kill it. I don't really know what the correct play is. I think we're too far behind at this point, but we're going to try and get out of it. And we're going to try by... Chandra's Phoenix thing. I was debating whether to go 2 at our opponent's face, because then if we put the War Gear on the Phoenix next turn, then we deal 5 to kill the Gideon in 1 shot instead of wasting 2 here. But I don't want to make it so that we have to play the War Gear next turn in case we draw something better. And obviously they're going to pump up that. We do have the ability to win late game between the Dragon Lord and maybe even the Choker, but it's not going to be easy. Oh, just going to get in for 3 then. Oh, sorry, for 5. Oh, they're doing this to avoid the Chandra. Is Phoenix killing it? So here we're taking 10 currently. So we have to block somewhere. We might as well get rid of the 2-2 and take 8. Down to 7, and then see what our opponent's got. So we draw a mountain. We can Brimstone Volley the Gideon. Or we can Grafted War Gear on the Phoenix and then kill the Gideon that way. That does mean that we lose to removal spells though. I think we're so far behind that if they have removal we're just dead. We're just going to do this because I think this has higher upside. At this point we're so far behind that I would rather take the risk this way and try and kill the Gideon and then keep the Brimstone Volley for going face. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we were so far behind, I think it was better to take the risk and try and increase our odds of somehow winning that instead of just slowly falling further and further behind. And I think we'll just keep it the same and hope that we don't mulligan down to 5 and draw crap. Obviously our opponent did mulligan to 6, but again, it just our draws were not very helpful. Just wait for our opponent to sideboard. And we definitely want to go first. Mulligan that. Ugh, we'll keep this and hopefully draw a land soon. Sweet, drew a land. We'll get him for 1. And we'll play the Marauder. And we'll pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have Disfigure. Sweet. If they play any X1s, then we can Banefire it. Unless it's Thalia. So our opponent's got a City of Brass this game as well. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to Banefire that and still crack in for more damage. Ooh, also we could just play the Revoker and name this. But then if they have a removal spell, that's pretty bad for us. Because then they can block next turn, tap it. Yeah, we're just gonna kill it now. Crack in for 4, and hopefully we can kill our opponent soon. If we can start ripping lands, obviously the Bedlam Ripper is just not going to do anything in this game, but if we can start drawing lands into the Chandra, then we can use that hopefully to get in a load of damage. And the City of Brass might help us out as well. Okay, drew perfectly. Main phase 2, we're just going to play the Revoker just blindly and name. And again, it's just randomly chosen something. This time it is chosen Giant Aphodige. Sure. Okay, I did not mean to do that again, but I don't know why it's doing. I've never had problems with naming things with Phyrexian Revoker, so I don't know why it's done that. Damnation. That's pretty good. Hopefully we can draw a land this turn. If we draw a land, then we can Chandra it. That should be able to get us back in the game. Sweet. We've just drawn perfectly. And bearing in mind they have a City of Brass, so we probably only need to deal like 5 more damage. They're probably going to use it a couple more times. Cast out on Chandra, yep. Again, we're just looking for more threats at this point. Even burn spells are good. Thunderbreak Regent, again, just drawing perfectly. And we'll just pass the turn back. I can't actually believe how well we've drawn this game. We needed to draw land, we drew land, needed to draw threats, and we've drawn threats. In the right order as well. And they're going to Obnixilis, probably destroy the Thunderbreak, putting them to 4. We definitely don't want to redirect, because Obnixilis doesn't really do anything against us, because they have to lose life. So between losing life from Obnixilis and City of Brass, they just can't really afford to. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 more and we can play the Bedlam Reveler. Our opponent needs to put some sort of very quick clock down to be able to win this. Wow, they're actually drawing a card, okay. They're going to cycle Forsaken the Worldly. And they've drawn their planes. Okay, so City of Brass isn't going to damage them anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, one off. One off Bedlam Reveler. They're probably just going to keep up Obnixilis now just to deal just to kill a creature, and that's it. I don't think they're going to want to deal any more damage to themselves. I guess it doesn't make too much difference at this point. The difference between 2 and 3 is not that much. So I guess they might as well keep drawing. And just pretend the Sea of Brass isn't even in play at this point. Because they have the white source from the planes now, unless they want to play Gideon. Which looks like they do. Ah, okay. Well, there's their quick clock. And we'll just use that. Nope. No. Sweet. On to the third game. Our opponent brought into a bunch of Planeswalkers, which I didn't expect. So I kind of want to bring in Thalia, making their Planeswalkers weaker. And the Choker, I think, is just pretty bad against them. I think that's all we want to change. Maybe we want the Labyrinth, I don't think so. It turns off Obnixilis, but I'll just kill it instead. We'll definitely keep this. 1 drop into 2 drop of our choice. And we'll pass them back. So we can play Porcelain Legionnaire if we want, or we can play the Young Pyromancer, depending on what we're doing the turn after. So if they play like a creature that we might want to abrade, that's pretty good for them. If they play a creature that we might want to abrade, then we might play the Young Pyromancer first, but we'll see. Asylum Visitor. 1 black, 1 colourless, 3/1 Madness, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and lose a life. Sure. We're just going to play this because it attacks in the easiest. It is worth noting that the card they cycled earlier, I can't remember what it's called, the 3 mana 1 destroy artifact or enchantment, does kill the Legionnaire, but they might have boarded it out. Journey to Nowhere is a pretty good answer. And they might get in for 3 here. Yep. So play the mountain, and I think we want to play Revoker just to name Gideon in case they do play Gideon next turn. Otherwise we're going to have a real hard time dealing with it. And hopefully we can actually name a creature this time. And again, it's just, I have not pressed the entered. I think it's whenever I press the 3rd letter, it chooses the card automatically. But considering I put GID for Gideon, I don't know why it chooses Giant Aphrodite. Giant Aphrodite? I don't know, fuck it. Whatever. And I think we're just going to lose if we keep doing this, because you're just playing a 2 mana 2/1. We could at least get a random card in their colours, would be nice. Sure. So we're going to make a 1/1 with lifelink. And pass the turn back. So we drew City of Brass. I think what we want to do is get Young Pyromancer down and start getting some tokens, and then try and use Mirror Entity to somehow win the game. So I think we have to answer both creatures. We need to answer the Sorin somehow. We'll play the Marauder this turn. And we'll pass the turn back. So Sorin can make 1/1 lifelinkers, or give you an emblem that gives you creatures +1/+0, and then his ultimate is to strike to 3 target creatures and or other planeswalkers, return each of them from the graveyard to your control. I'm going to make another 1/1. And Obnixilis. Sure. Exquisite Firecraft does nothing here. Like, we can kill Gideon, but we're still just going to lose to Sorin. You know what? I don't really want to play this out. I'm just going to give them that. I mean, they've clearly won that at that point. They've got 2 Planeswalkers in play. They've got 20 life. Unfortunately, that didn't go too well, but thanks for watching, and I will be a lot more active with putting up cube and things now. Obviously, I haven't been playing a lot of Magic recently, unfortunately. So I haven't been doing as well on Cube recently as I used to with my old series. So hopefully I can get back into Cube a little bit more and start doing a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and peace.